Hello and welcome. Have you ever spotted a strange, kind of pearly looking bump on your skin, or maybe on your child's skin, and thought, what is that? Well, you've come to the right place. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on something called Molluscum Contagiosum, and by the time we're done, you'll know exactly how to spot it, understand its life cycle, and feel confident about what to do next.
Right? It's a situation so many parents and adults find themselves in. You see this little, firm bump that just wasn't there yesterday. And it doesn't really look like a pimple, but it's not quite a wart either. That little bit of mystery can be a bit worrying. So let's clear it all up and get right to it.
So first things first, let's put a name to this thing. What exactly are we dealing with here? Okay, so at its heart, Molluscum Contagiosum is a viral skin infection. Now, the two most important words on this slide are common and benign. That means it's super widespread, but it's also harmless. The catch is, because it's a virus, part of the poxvirus family actually, it is contagious. It can spread pretty easily from skin-to-skin contact or by sharing things like towels, wrestling mats, or even toys.
Now this is the big giveaway. If you remember only one thing from this whole explainer, make it this. The absolute hallmark sign of molluscum is a tiny little dimple or pit right in the center of that dome-shaped bump. The fancy medical term is umbilication, and it's your most reliable clue.
So who tends to get this? As you can see, it's overwhelmingly a childhood thing, which makes perfect sense, right? Think about all the close contact in daycares, schools, and playgrounds. But it's not just for kids. We also see it pretty often in sexually active adults and in athletes who are sharing locker rooms, gym equipment, that kind of thing. All right, to really get a handle on this condition and why it can sometimes feel like it's sticking around forever, we need to look at the life of a single bump. It actually goes through 4 pretty distinct stages. And this timeline here is so important for setting expectations. We're not talking about a quick fix that's gone in a few days. For your body's immune system to fully wake up, recognize the virus, and clear it out, well, it's a marathon, not a sprint. We're typically looking at a journey of about 6 to 18 months if you just let it run its course. So it all starts out really quietly. You might just notice these tiny little bumps, maybe 1 to 5 millimeters across. They're firm, they're usually the same color as your skin, and you could easily mistake them for a small pimple or a bug bite. At this early point, that key central dimple we talked about, it might not even be there yet, which is why it can be so easy to miss. Then we move into stage 2, maturation. This is when the bump gets a little bigger and that classic dimple finally shows up, making it much easier to identify. Now, inside that bump, a little whitish core is forming, and this is key. That core is absolutely packed with the virus. This is precisely why scratching is the worst thing you can do. It just breaks the bump open and spreads the virus to the skin nearby. Okay, now this next stage can look a little alarming. The bumps can get red, they might swell up and look really angry and irritated. It's totally natural to see that and think, oh no, it's getting worse. But in a weird way, this is actually good news. This inflammation is often the first sign that your body's immune system has finally noticed the intruder and is launching its attack. It's the beginning of the end. And that brings us to what is maybe the most crucial piece of advice I can give you. I know it can be tempting, but you have to resist the urge to pop or squeeze these bumps. Please. When you squeeze them, you're just releasing that super contagious core all over the place, which can spread the infection, introduce bacteria, and even lead to permanent scarring. Just don't do it. And finally, we get to the good part, resolution. Once the immune system has won the battle, the bumps start to shrink, they flatten out, and then they just fade away. And the best news of all, as long as they haven't been aggressively scratched or picked at, the vast majority of them disappear completely without leaving any scar behind.
So you now know the life cycle of a bump. But let's be honest, especially in those early stages, it can still be tricky to be 100% sure. That's why it's so helpful to see how it stacks up against some other common skin bumps.
Warts are probably the #1 cause of confusion, so let's put them head to head. The two biggest differences are the surface and the center. Molluscum bumps are smooth, almost pearly. Warts are rough, kind of like a tiny piece of cauliflower. And that central feature is a dead giveaway. Molluscum has that smooth little dimple, while warts often have tiny black dots, which are actually little clotted blood vessels. Skin tags are another one people wonder about. But here, the difference is all about the attachment. A skin tag is soft and it kind of dangles from the skin on a little stalk. You usually find them in places where skin rubs together, like your neck or under your arms. A molluscum bump, on the other hand, is firm and sits right on top of the skin. Okay, so we feel pretty good about identifying these things now. Let's switch gears and talk about the practical stuff. What can you actually do about it, and how do you stop it from spreading all over? Prevention really boils down to simple but super important hygiene habits. The whole game is about containing the virus. Rule number 1, don't scratch. Keeping nails short helps. Number 2, cover the bumps. A simple waterproof bandage creates a great barrier. And of course, the basics. Wash your hands really well after touching them, and don't share personal stuff like towels or clothes. It's all about breaking that chain of transmission.
Now, even though your body can clear this on its own, you don't always have to just wait it out. There are some really effective professional treatments that can speed things along. Things like freezing them, scraping them, using lasers, or applying special creams. These can be really helpful if the bumps are somewhere really bothersome, causing a lot of stress, or if they seem to be spreading like wildfire. But it is so important to remember this. Choosing to do nothing is also a completely valid and often recommended medical strategy. We call it watchful waiting. It basically means you let the immune system do its job on its own schedule while you just focus on those good prevention habits to keep it from spreading.
Whew, we have covered a ton of ground, so let's just take a second and boil it all down to the absolute most important things you need to remember. If you only take 4 things away from this, make it these. 1, it's common and it's harmless. 2, the key thing to look for is that pearly bump with the dimple in the middle. 3, prevention is all about good hygiene. Don't scratch, cover them up, don't share. And 4, it goes away on its own, but you have treatment options if you want to speed things up. Knowing these 4 things puts you in the driver's seat. So, understanding the condition is always the first, most critical step. And now you've got that down. The next step is just deciding on a plan that feels right for you and your family. Whether that plan is watchful waiting combined with some smart hygiene, or maybe it's making a call to your doctor to talk about treatment options. Either way, you're now equipped to move forward with confidence. Thanks so much for joining us.